Polycystic Life of Baby. I'm back again as I promised. And I am back now to kind of do the video I promised in regards to the suggestions that I would have for you if you're having the surgery. Or even just for, like I said, some of us are going to have the surgery again, unfortunately. I hope to goodness that it's not going to be that case for myself or for any of you watching, or any of your family members you're watching this for, but there is always that possibility. So in the last video, I did mention again that if you haven't watched any of the previous videos, you may want to go back and at least watch the diagnosis video. But basically, I was diagnosed with PCOS, and I also just had surgery for that, ovarian drilling, along with a operative laparoscopy where they went in and found and removed all of the endometriosis, made sure my tubes were clean, and also they did a hysteroscopy where they did a polypectomies and dilation curettage, which is a DNC as some know it, to remove all of the thick endometrial lining. So some of you kind of have an idea and know what the situation is, and that's just like a quick little rundown of what I just had. I just had the surgery on Tuesday. I'm recovering pretty well. I'm still in quite a bit of pain and a little bit of discomfort. Can't drive or do anything. I think the most I could do was roll my computer chair into the bathroom and throw like 4 curls into my unwashed hair. But I'm doing okay. I'm doing well, and everything that I'm going through is to be expected. Nothing out of the ordinary. And girls, again, while I'm talking about this, because the last video I just posted, if you go back and you watch, that's just kind of my 3-day update on my recovery, and just so you have an idea as to how the recovery might be. But after the 3rd day is when you start to kind of feel most of that relief starting to come down, and I do feel that, which is great. But you still, even if you feel a little bit better, you don't want to go crazy and start trying to drive and go to the grocery store and walk around and do a ton of shopping and pick up the water bottles. And no, don't do any of that. But back to the suggestions, because you guys know I get off subject, I get off topic a lot. So my suggestions to you, if you are going to be having laparoscopy surgery for endometriosis, PCOS, ovarian drilling, if you're having a hysteroscopy especially, because I ended up having both, and that's a little bit, I feel, is even more sensitive because they're removing that uterine lining, and you do have that high bleeding risk if you're lifting or doing too much activity or being on your feet too much. So with me having both, I knew that I needed to get things prepared prior to. So here's suggestion number 1. Make sure your house is clean to your, whatever your cleaning standards are. I have very high clean standards in my house. I'm very picky. I don't like dirt. I don't like a stinky bathroom. I don't like a sticky kitchen. I don't leave dishes in the sink. Some people, my house is a little cleaner than like a regular house. I go a little overboard. I'll admit, I do. So maybe not to that extent, but to whatever your cleaning preference, your cleanliness preference is, get your house to that standard before surgery, because believe me, nobody's going to be able to do it the way you do it, and specifically the way you like it. I found even if you hire somebody to come clean your house, they don't clean the house the way I would prefer, and I would like it to be cleaned. But again, I go a little bit overboard, y'all, so that's just me. But get it to where you like it, and you'll feel more comfortable when you come out of surgery, and when you come into your house, it feels like home, like you like it, and doesn't feel out of order, and that's just one less thing that you need to worry about or to deal with. Rule number 2, girls, if you are having the laparoscopy or even the hysteroscopy, this might be good for you because you are going to have to wear a pad. If you get a hysteroscopy with the DNC or polypectomies, you're going to have to wear a maxi pad for at least 4 to 6 weeks. So because you'll have bleeding for that long time frame. So my suggestion to you, what I did before surgery was when I was out buying all of my supplies, and that's another thing you want to do, anything that you're needing to buy, whether it's food or things to go into the refrigerator, anything, go out and do that beforehand. If you can't do it all at once, just do it little by little. Just make yourself a list, and each time you go to the store, just mark off what you've gotten. On that list was, of course, my panties. I highly suggest you going out and buying a great big pair of granny panties, or as we call them in my house, geriatric panties. Basically, if you go to any store like a Walmart or a Target, anywhere, they sell packs packs of like different brands of underwear. I'm trying not to say any brand names or anything because I still don't know how this works. But basically big packs of like underwear, and they come in like a plastic thing. You can get like 6 or 7 pairs for like $10. They're super cheap. And make sure you get those, of course, before you wear them. Make sure that you wash them. You never want to wear any panties or undergarments without washing them first. All kinds of little buggies on there, especially with you having open incisions. You don't want to run the risk of any infection. So make sure you get a pack of panties, wash them first. My suggestion will be to always go one size larger. Get the briefs, not the bikinis or anything like that. Obviously, it's your choice, but especially with me being a bigger girl, I'm a BBW, so I prefer to, at this time, like have something that goes all the way up over my like belly button area. So, like, for instance, if you wear a size 8 in panties, make sure you buy a size 9. That's my suggestion to you. That way they're still kind of firm, but not too loose, but also not too snug on your incisions, because you have to remember, you're going to have an incision in your belly button and at least 2 on the sides. And in my case, I have 3 on the sides. So I have a total of 4, but you're going to at least have the 3, and you don't want anything digging in or picking at your incisions or rubbing. It's uncomfortable, and just let's avoid it. So go ahead and get some bigger undies, or if you have some already, great. Get those ready and prepared. One moment, guys. I have a call. I'm going to pause. Hey, guys. Back again. I'm so sorry for that pause. I had to answer a call. So, yeah. So get yourself a nice big pair of, some nice big pairs of panties. Not just one pair, but, some nice big pairs of panties. Make sure you have your maxi pads bought, because if you do have the hysteroscopy, you will be having a menstrual period for at least 4 to 6 weeks, like I said. Another suggestion is always have a pillow. You're going to need a pillow to cough and to laugh. The day after surgery, we were watching Friday, and I literally had to turn it off almost because it was making me laugh and it was hurting like hell. I learned that and also coughing. When you have the surgery, usually you're going to put a breathing tube down your throat. And so you do need to make sure that you're coughing up some of that extra phlegm. But it's hard because it hurts. It's almost all the way through day 3, and it still hurts to cough. It still hurts to laugh. It hurts to breathe too hard. So a pillow really helps. Just any kind of like pillow, just grab it and just kind of hold it to you when you laugh or when you cough, and it really helps. Just having that pressure. Maybe even your hands would help. I just prefer to use a pillow. Dairy, I would say in regards to dairy, if you're anybody that is slightly lactose intolerant, you may want to avoid dairy. Again, I'm not a doctor, medical professional. I haven't even got my nursing degree yet. But you want to maybe avoid dairy. That would be a suggestion, unless you absolutely have to have dairy for some reason. Just because I know I'm very, very mildly lactose intolerant, and upon being lactose intolerant, you do have, sometimes issues with getting kind of bloated when you have any type of dairy products, and that's essentially just due to you lacking the lactase enzyme that kind of interacts with the lactose, and usually when you become an adult, you kind of start lacking that lactase enzyme. Another option is you can always buy the lactase enzyme over the counter. There's pills that supply it if you do absolutely have to have dairy. But the issue with the dairy is when you have bloating in your actual stomach, it bloats into the abdominal cavity, and then it kind of irritates the gas that's free floating in there, and it just makes it worse. So that would be a suggestion for the dairy. Another thing, prepare, clean, like I said, get your fridge together, all the foods you want, juices, water, all that stuff. Make sure you have everything you want. You don't want to want for anything when you get home. And me, I'm lucky enough to have family that came into town. Hold on one moment. I'm videotaping. Sorry, my family's trying to get used to this whole vlogging thing. They don't understand. I'm actually recording to post this to the public. But luckily I have family, like my dad came in and my mommy came and stayed with me for a week, and my boyfriend's here even though he works because he's like our main source of income right now because I'm not working. But anyways, so I have my family and stuff, but again, I know I'm picky. I know a lot of us women are. We want things done our way, and we want what we want. We want it now. Like, I know me, especially when it comes to certain things like chocolate or something. So I had to make sure I had my hot chocolate and my cookies so my mom can bake them for me, and things that I really don't need. But whatever, it just comforts me, and I know that it's there if I want it, even though I haven't barely touched any of it. Wound cleaning. Again, I'm not a doctor. Listen to your doctor's orders, whatever your doctors advise you to do. Make sure that you're doing that and following that to the T. But in regards to wound cleaning, I do have some Bactine or like rubbing alcohol, little packs that are already pre-wet that I've actually been using because the incision, I'm obviously a big girl, I'm a chubby girl, and so the incision inside of my belly button kind of gets a little aggravated, and I found it to stop becoming so irritated when I cleansed the actual belly button itself with a little bit of Bactine and some rubbing alcohol, and also made sure it was dried. So I cleaned it out with a sterile Q-tip, and I also put antibacterial ointment inside of the belly button and around. Also, I kind of cleaned, I didn't touch the surgical tape, but just around the incisions. I cleaned those with a little bit of rubbing alcohol. Obviously, I wasn't on the incisions, so they weren't burning. That's like a suggestion. Again, don't listen to me if your doctor's advised you otherwise or told you not to touch or to clean anything. Listen to your doctor. But that's just what I did in day 3. I feel it's only helped. My belly button's not as irritated and itchy and burning anymore since I've done that. Another thing that I did was I went and bought Dial Bar antibacterial soap, and I have been using that to clean. I use my regular creamy, my Coco Shea body wash as well, just a regular body wash. It's not antibacterial for moisture, but I have been using that antibacterial bar soap on the actual area, and I just take the actual bar itself and just kind of scrub around the area where the incisions are with the soap, and I don't really touch that area with the loofah or even with the towel. I just know that things with little crevices can hold, and harvest bacteria. And I know this because I took microbiology because I'm studying to be a nurse. So I know that you don't want to get that too close to your incisions. So my choice was to just use the straight bar soap on the area of the incisions. And I love my loofah because it gets rid of the dead skin and stuff. So I still use that from like the outer part of my body and stuff like that. So that's another suggestion, Dial soap. Doctor didn't suggest it or say I had to use it. I just made that decision cognizantly on my own. What else do I want to tell you guys? What else would I suggest? That's really all I can think of as far as my suggestions to you for pre-surgery and getting prepared for surgery and things that you may want to know for after surgery. Again, if you do have the hysteroscopy, make sure you have your maxi pad and some nice big comfy panties. Oh, another thing I wanted to tell you. Yes. So also, as well, make sure that you have your clothes and your comfy things together. Like for me, I have like a picture to show you, not a picture, an example to show you. Like I got like a lot of my night shirts and things that I had. I pulled them out and had them folded up and ready to go. Also, I figured that after like the 3rd or 4th day, I might go out in the day, like we might go to lunch or something like that. I can't still really walk around, it's still too painful, but I left my black tights out because obviously if you're bleeding, you don't want to run the risk of bleeding through your pants and having it show. So I chose to use black tights and just some plain little tank tops, stuff like that. And I had all that stuff together, so I won't have to go in my closet and dig. So I left out probably like 5 pairs of black tights, like 6 regular type of shirts, a couple sweatshirts. I left out my night shirts, and I left out my little fuzzy Steve Madden slippers, so that I wouldn't have to really dig for my comfy stuff, and I just have it right here. Another big thing I would highly, highly, highly advise is for you to get a heating pad if you don't have one. Make sure you get a heating pad. That literally saved my butt through the gas pains, and it still is saving my butt because, again, it's just not the end of day 3, and I still am having the gas pains, but it's just not as severe, so it's getting way better. But the heating pad will really help you. It'll save you. And also with those cramps, if you end up having to have the hysteroscopy with the D&C, the heating pad it's just like if you're on your period. It just really helps with those cramps. and helps to make you a lot more comfortable and just eases that pain. For me, ice doesn't really work. If ice is something that works for you, maybe you try. I don't really know. But I just personally would suggest some type of a heat or a heating pad for you. But that is pretty much it in regards to preparing for surgery. Another thing that I'll just add at the end of the video is if you are thinking about the surgery and you haven't actually scheduled the surgery, excuse me, and just remember that I know for me, I wanted to make a video like this because I was literally so terrified and scared about the surgery itself. And I heard people talking about their experience, but I don't know. I just didn't feel like it was enough. Like, I feel like I wanted to hear somebody say, like, it was great, or, you know, I would do it again, which, I mean, I know it's a surgery, but I would say that I would do it again if I had to. It wasn't as bad as I thought it would be. I was literally terrified. I didn't want to go through with it, but I knew I had to. After talking to my family and weighing the options and knowing the risk that it could have had on my fertility had I had let it keep going and not treated it, I knew that it could have had really big bad effects, and I knew that I had to do it. But I was afraid. And I just want to tell you, I know it sounds cliche, but try not to worry so much about the risk. Everything in life comes with a risk. You walk out of the door in the morning, you run the risk of some mass murderer coming up and shooting you. You go to the store, you could get hit by a car. Sorry guys, my family still just does not get. I'm a vlogger now. And I promise this will get better. I'll learn how to edit these little stops and pauses out. But my point is don't worry so much about the risks. Talk to your doctor about the risks and use that to kind of guide you. And everything comes with the risks, but I feel this could only be better for you if you're dealing with what, you know, girls that have PCOS and endometriosis or anything that comes along with that have been dealing with. So think about that before you get scared. You know, read my story, watch my story, reach out to me through email. My email's in the bio of every video. And so you can reach out to me anytime. You can send me messages on YouTube. And I'm more than willing to talk to you about my worry and my anxiety and, like, be there for you to support you through it. But I say all the way, like, excuse me, sorry. Don't be terrified. Try not to be scared. Just go for it. And just make sure that you're prepared to make yourself as comfortable as you can be after surgery. And again, remember that the life that we live, the life we lead in regards to the ailments that come along, like polycystic ovarian syndrome, we didn't choose that. It just happens. Endometriosis, it just happens. And there's no specific reason why. So anyways, those are my suggestions. Go ahead and watch this video if you need suggestions on preparation for after surgery and before surgery. And also watch the video prior to this for the update on how I'm recovering, so you'll kind of know how you might feel if you are going to have the surgery around the same day. And I hope you guys enjoy the rest of your night, and I will see you next week for my update and my follow-up appointment on the 19th. Have a good one.